All right, we'll get started here in just a second. Checking to see if we're in the green, and it looks like we are. All right, welcome back. Greetings, good morning from Ohio. Yes, I survived the year's first big snowstorm last night, thanks to my trusty GM Saturn Outlook. It's a shame they don't make these anymore. This is probably the last of the great, high-quality, low-maintenance GM cars, but came up that hill from Jazz Night downtown in the big snow, and the car had no problem. In fact, I had the car rigged to Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice, right? And the car says, "It's okay, we have power." Seriously, I made it up the hill like a rocket. Not recommended that you drive like a rocket up the hill, but I made it home safe and sound, so I'm okay. Hope all of you are okay if you live in the snow belt, but I made it okay. So it was a fun night, if a bit short, listening to some great jazz with a two-time Grammy Award-winning saxophonist, Eric DeFade. So for this one, we're going to talk technology, about saving a Macbook from extinction. And this morning the weather has cleared up, so I think the internet's going to be okay. Hopefully this will be a smooth transition from last night to this morning's live stream. It should be a good internet considering how much I pay for the damn thing. But anyway, let me have a quick sip of coffee here and we'll get started. I love Keurig machines. All right, so friend of mine calls and he says, his girlfriend's got an old MacBook Pro. Now, I don't own a MacBook. I wouldn't mind having one. If anybody has an old MacBook laying around they would like to donate so I can test installing Linux on it, specifically Chrome OS, let me know. That being said, he says this MacBook hasn't been touched since the pandemic. Okay. It's slow starting up, it freezes, it's slow, this and that. Well, let me take a crack at it. And I'll be honest, my first thought was, let me install Chrome OS to the rescue, Chrome OS Flex, and that'll be done. But Chrome OS Flex, not the Chromebook, but Chrome OS Flex, I believe, is still experimental. And I didn't have a MacBook laying around to test it for a week just to make sure it's okay. So I thought, let's just skip Chrome OS for now, and let's install Linux Mint on this. I need to backtrack. My first thought, well, since it hasn't been used that long, and this one had Mac OS High Sierra, as you see here, those of you watching this podcast, I thought, well, let me just keep it simple. Let's see if we can maybe, trade this in for something for her so she can get a newer MacBook, nothing as fancy, for less money, because she's so used to MacBooks. After I looked it up, I told myself, you dumb dago, what were you thinking? I looked this up on the Apple's website for a trade-in value. How could I put this? The trade-in value was stugazzo. Look it up. It is an Italian phrase I cannot translate on this family channel, but that's the reply I got back from Apple's website. The trade-in value on this was less value than my cup of coffee. Well, there goes $2,000 out the window, or whatever this was. I think this was about $1,500 at the time. But it turns on. It seemed to be in good shape. I think the P key didn't work. Otherwise, everything else is in mint condition, it seemed. A little bit dirty, but it turned on. It's slow, but it turned on. So I thought Chrome OS, I think we'll skip that for now. So I thought, let's install Linux Mint. So yeah, I had to go in the what do they call it in the app book? It's the MacBook. It's not the control panel, is it? Those of you who have MacBooks, help me out here. Anyway, I went into the control panel. We'll just call it that. Delete what was in there, a clean hard drive, and I believe this has the original hard drive, and installed Linux Mint Mate. Now, I've never done this before on a Mac, and I was kind of crossing my fingers to see if this would work, because really all she wants to do is go on the web, email, communication. That's why I said Chrome OS would have been perfect, but back to Linux Mint Mate. So I installed it, did the updates, and it worked. Like, okay, well, it turns on. I see a screen, but I had no Wi-Fi. I'm like, oh man, I knew I should have installed Chrome OS Flex, but I thought, wait, it's missing drivers. So Linux Mint has a terrific driver manager, and those of you watching this, as you see here, I just took a quick screenshot of this looking for drivers, and it found the what was it? Broadway. No, not the Broadway. That's in New York. Broadcom wireless drivers. And installed it. I rebooted, and voila, the MacBook now has Wi-Fi. So to make a long story short, Linux, in this case Linux Mint, saved the MacBook Pro from extinction. And I gave it back. I haven't heard anything. I guess that's a good thing. I'm assuming it works the way it should. Kind of disappointed couldn't get at least a couple $100 on a trade-in, considering this thing was almost $2,000 at the time. Look, I'm not knocking on MacBooks or MacBook users. I don't have one, so maybe I shouldn't even be talking about this. But I did this for a favor for a friend, and it appears to be working. So yeah, if you have an old MacBook laying around and wanted to try Linux Mint, it worked for me. If it doesn't, then try Chrome OS Flex. It is free. If all you want to do is just browse the web and get this thing, saved from the trash bin. It's just a shame that after 10 years, which I guess is a long time in the business, you spend almost $2,000 on a machine, and 10 years later it's worth zero. It's kind of sad. Now, if this thing had cost originally $500, well, after 10 years, I completely understand why it's worth nothing. But almost $2,000, 10 years later to get zero out of a trade-in, it's the nature of the business. That's why I don't have a MacBook. Although I still wouldn't mind one having it around just for testing Linux purposes on it. So there you have it. Linux Mint, in this case, Linux Mint Mate, saves a MacBook Pro from extinction. So I hope it works out for her. All right, another quick sip of coffee. We'll see if anybody's in the chat this early morning. All right, let's go to the chat and see who's here. Vincenzo, my dear friend from Australia, which the seasons are reversed. You are in summer there, you lucky dog. GM makes an email client. Yeah, right. Glad I made it home. Thank you, Vince. Yeah, got to remember, great to catch you, even if yeah, Vince, I know it's been a while. I don't know when is the best time for you to get you on. So glad you stopped by, and yeah, we'll do a private chat one of these centuries. And good to hear you, my dear friend. Carter is in the house. Hello. Let's see. Installed Ubuntu on your 2011 Mac Mini. It runs like a charm. Oh, really? No driver issue so far. Cool. Really, you installed Ubuntu on a Mac Mini and it runs pretty good? Heavy Ubuntu with the GNOME desktop on an old Mac Mini, which I believe is even less powerful. No kidding. Okay. Hey, whatever works. Although I am a little bit surprised on that, but awesome. I would have installed something lighter. But okay, if it works, it works. All right, let me take another quick sip of coffee here, Carter. Give me a second. So when you installed Ubuntu on that Mini, does it run like fast, slow, fast enough? Okay, so Carson says the MacBook Pro started at $2,000. Okay, yeah, it's just a shame that yeah, we couldn't get any trade-in values for it, Carson, for her. Uh, what can I say? It is what it is. Hopefully this will last for her. Linux Smith Mate, that is. And hey, if she can get a few more years out of it, then maybe crap out. I don't think this one had an SSD, if I recall. It just felt too slow for an SSD. Yeah, but nice machine, lighted keyboard, great looking screen. So I think it was worth saving, even if it's outdated. It's just a shame that it's basically worth zero after spending almost $2,000 for it. Well, it's good that the Mac Mini's fast, because Ubuntu, I would not consider Ubuntu lightweight, Carter, not at all, but great. One of these days I'll get a MacBook. Probably something refurbished, but I'm not going to spend $2,000 or $1,000 for it because I probably wouldn't use it that much. I'm still happy with my, Chromebooks and my desktops here, Dell and my older Gateway. Hello, Yugi. So Carson, you have two with that case. 421 was the 2010 that had a bad motherboard. Yeah, once the motherboard goes bad, that's pretty much the end. Oh, you missed a replacement offer time. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, Carter. So it has a solid state drive and 16 gigs of RAM. Then Ubuntu would be fast enough. Yes, yeah. Yeah, I don't think this one had an SSD, but yeah, solid state drive and 60 gigs of RAM should run anything out there. I was surprised that this machine, I believe, has still had the original battery, and it still had about 91% capacity left, which after 10 years I think is insane. But I guess they are good machines. If a bit overpriced, I guess they are solidly built. So hopefully this will last for her with Linux Mint Mate. All right, I'll stick around a little bit longer since we have some fine folks here in the chat room. So whatever you guys want to chat about, I'll stick around for a little bit longer. I got my coffee with Italian creamer, of course. Hey, forget about creamer. Anyway, but yeah, this was the highlight of the week. Salvaging a MacBook Pro from a $2,000 Extinction. Man, that's a hard pill to swallow. But, oh well, it works. Hello, Steve. Good morning. You still rocking with your Dell? Yeah, I still have a Dell. That's 10 years old by now. It still runs both Windows 11 and Linux Mint. You got 48 gigs of RAM. Holy crap. And it's 14 years old. What you have? Really? Okay. Hey, if it works, it works. I really am due for a new desktop. After I do my taxes, I'll see where I stand. I'll probably do them sometime here at the end of the month and see what's going on. So we'll see. Let's see here. Yugi asks my thoughts on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS scheduled to be released next month. No, not next month. Next month's my birthday. April. Yugi, it's disappointing that apparently we will not be seeing the immutable version of Ubuntu. It's been indefinitely delayed. That would have been the highlight of Ubuntu for me. course, we all know Chromebooks are really, when you think about it, the gold standard of Linux machines. They have proven themselves over the years. The first true solid immutable OS in a Chromebook. I was looking forward to the Ubuntu immutable OS. I'll just call it the UOS, for Ubuntu. So yes, I was looking forward to Ubuntu's UOS, immutable for you, as it were. I'm disappointed. I think it would have been great for you to run Ubuntu's immutable OS, but they said it's been delayed. And will I be testing Ubuntu 24.04? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the GNOME desktop. As you know, Yugi. I think Zorn OS does the perfect job for the GNOME desktop. Pop OS is working on a new desktop environment called Rust. I'm assuming with GNOME on it. So to answer your question, my thoughts on 24.04 Ubuntu, disappointed. Yeah, that would have been exciting. Even if they released it and it was half baked, meaning just a beta. I think it still would have been historic to have an Ubuntu UOS for you, immutable for the masses to test, just to try comparing with the Chromebook. Anyway, there's my long answer. Alright, so Carson has a 2010 Mini 2. 32 gigs, terabyte hard drive, media server, house. 2010 is still working, huh? Okay, cool. Rolled Windows 11, Steve. Use it for studio music editing. I know. Not my favorite OS, but it works for the job. Steve, I have to be honest. Those of you who follow this channel over the years, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do, and like and all that stuff. It helps the channel, of course. And those of you who know me over the years, I am an equal opportunity OS basher, meaning I'll make fun of stuff in a clean family way. I cannot make fun of Windows 11. Haven't seen a blue screen of death yet. Haven't seen a major crash. All the apps work. I'm disappointed that I cannot make fun of Windows 11. So Microsoft, will you stop making a good system? Because I can't joke on it. I installed Windows 11 on 2 outdated systems, computers that are at least 10 years old, and no crashes. I have to be fair about this. Now, I don't use Windows 11 as much as I used to because I don't have to. But for me to say that Windows 11 is worse than Linux or it sucks, it is simply not true. And I've proven it twice, at least with 2 fresh installs. Now, I don't know about how it's going to work on a new Windows 11 machine. Maybe it's a different experience, to be fair. But Windows 11 on 2 old machines, look, we've all seen videos out there where Windows 11 is trash, it'll destroy old machines and all that. It's not true. And that's all I'm going to say about that. What's up, Razor? Yes, Peppermint OS is still good and lightweight. I know that a lot of what's the word? Professional YouTubers, like those who have millions of subscribers. I think they pretty much stick to MacBooks. I know professional singers like our friend Stephanie only uses MacBook, although I think she has Windows too for various reasons, and I kind of get that. The best OS is the one that works for you, whether it's Mac or Chromebook or whatever. It's all, to me, life is all about the least amount of headaches. That's my quick life philosophy. King TL popped in. Hi. Sorry, I'm pausing here as I take coffee sips. So that hurts to hear, brother. We'll never go back to Windows. They make me embarrassed, honestly. Yeah, King. Like I said, I when I first installed Windows 11. Good answer. Oh, thank you, King. When I first installed Windows 11, I really did not know what to expect. I like to be, what's the word, somewhat diplomatic about things. Now, doing this channel 14 years, not everybody agrees with my New York attitude, as it were, or what I have to say. And I've gained thousands of subscribers. I've lost thousands of subscribers. I guess that's the price of being fair, as it were. But as far as Windows 11, last year or year before, the only way to give a straight, honest answer was to try Windows 11, not in a virtual machine, but to install it on two machines, two completely separate machines. One is an older Dell, and one is what do I have here? This is I have a Gateway in Lenovo. I installed it on the Gateway, but it had an old hard drive, not an SSD, so it ran slow, I'll be honest. But I put it on the Lenovo SSD, and King, to be honest, on both completely outdated machines. Okay, and we're talking 10 years old plus. Windows 11 ran faster than some Linux systems, such as Ubuntu. Those are the facts. Now, am I going to lose some subs on this? I don't know what to tell you. I think people come to this channel looking for straight, honest answers based on personal experience. Now, that doesn't mean I use Windows 11 all the time. No. But after testing it on two older machines, I was stunned on the performance. Anyway, King, that's my answer to Windows 11. MacBooks, I wish I had the budget for a MacBook. Those of you who use Macs out there, I think it's great. If I had one, I would probably install Linux on it, but I've played with Mac OS. It's okay. It's not for me. I don't have an iPhone. I had one once. It's just not for me. I don't like to use iTunes. I like to plug and play things. Plug in my Motorola phone, plug, play, and go. But the MacBooks look good. This one was worth salvaging after 10 years. It's a shame that it had no trade-in value after spending, I think somebody said these were up to $2,000 when they first came out. Yeah, the Apple website gave nothing. Zip. I felt bad for her, but there's nothing I can do. All right. So yeah, as far as this chat goes, this MacBook, it appears to be worth salvaging with Linux Mint Mate. If Linux Mint gives her a problem, then we'll go with Chrome OS Flex because it is a little lighter. Razor says, Win 10 gave me loads of trouble with bad updates, breaking the drivers. Oh, wow. Did you do a fresh install? Not an upgrade, but a fresh install of Windows 11. That's the key. No upgrades. King says, I do respect your insights. I ain't going nowhere. Peace and respect. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Timo, my dear friend, what's up? Tim, we're just what you're seeing now, just some screenshots. I salvaged my friend's girlfriend's outdated MacBook Pro from Extinction. Installing Linux Mint Mate. It seems to work. So that's what. Well, I mean, I'm still showing the photos on the screen, but you didn't miss much. So to make a long story short, This machine had Mac OS Sierra, and I think it expired during the pandemic. Those of you who more into Macs, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mac OS, I believe, expired during the pandemic, and the machine froze up. It was slow. I tried trading it in at the Apple website. Their response was, your trade-in value is Stugazzo. And I think Tim may know what that means. I'm not going to repeat it. Meaning that the trade-in value on this expensive machine at the time was 0. I installed Linux Mint Mate. So far it works. So that's what's going on here. King says your stepdad just loves Microsoft. That makes you sick. Look, if it works for him and doesn't give him heart attacks, you got to let it go, right? You're still using Windows 7? Really? Okay. All right. I would not use Windows 7, but hey, if it works. LegacyUpdate.net. I don't know if I would trust that, Yugi, but if it works, it works. All right, let me get in the sip of coffee here. Delicious. Coffee with Italian creamer. But yeah, one of these days I'll pick up a used MacBook and give my honest thoughts about that. So CFWW says happy weekend. Still happy weekend to all of you. If you live on the snow belt, hope all of you are safe. Steve, you use them all for different reasons. MacBook for work, various different Linux OSs, home server, Win 11 for music recording. Okay. Tim says, Toss, you know that Windows is sacrilege to me. Let us pray. Spiritus Santi benedici. Okay. I know. Again, I don't use Windows that much. I don't have to. But does that mean that for me Windows 11 sucks? It's just not true, because both machines tested don't say that. And I'm not going to lie about Windows 11 just to gain subs. I can't do it. Yeah, it was fresh ISO straight from... Okay, Razer. Okay. Steve says it works. If it works, the less stress in your life, the better. Amen. You have a friend with outdated MacBook Air from the same generation. As the Pro model you're showing, may ask to get my hands on it now. Yeah, this King, this was MacBook number. I should have wrote it down. Sorry about. I think it was a MacBook 8, and it lasted up until whenever High Sierra completely expired, which I think was it was the start of the pandemic. Little slow, but Linux Mint Mate seems okay. How's my cell phone working? I love Motorola phones. This is the Moto Edge. It seems okay so far. The only thing I don't like about Motorola is when it comes to OS updates, they're not particularly the zippiest. That's the downfall of Motorola. But I tend to change my phones every couple years anyway. I usually don't spend more than a couple $100 or so for a used phone. So if Motorola stops updating the phones on a timely basis, I get a new one anyway. So to answer your question, the phone is terrific. They started at 2,000. Carson says, well, the universities where you worked, the model was 2.6K. Really? It's nice to get the first shot of buying old inventory for next to nothing when I upgrade. Wouldn't spend that myself. Yeah. I've been asked in the past to comment on MacBooks. I never had quite the budget for it or the inclination for it. But if I could get my hands on a non-broken used one, sure, I would experiment with it. I wouldn't mind doing that. Tim says, so I just wanted to give you a laugh on the Windows deal.
Well, you know, Tim, the Godfather still respects Linux. It's nice to have you here with the family. So God bless you and your daughter and your family and your mom. Terrific, terrific, folks.
Anyway, so those of you who came in late, I did survive Ohio's first big snowstorm last night. Thanks to GM Saturn, I went up that hill like a rocket. My car says we have power toss. There is no snow out there. Ha ha ha. But yeah, I wish GM still made Saturn cars. I won't lie to you, getting 12 miles to a gallon sucks in the city. But in the snow, no problem. Anyway, that's where we're at with this. Okay. Don't personally do what I did for research at the school personally, and so a MacBook Air 999 with the M model processor. Yeah, Carson. Yeah, I guess those are more reasonably priced for a MacBook Air. I don't know much about the M chip. I guess it's okay for what you pay for. Like I said, I'm going to have to wait till I do my taxes to see what I'm going to do. Anyway. Steve, you built a Macintosh once. Interesting. Not stable, okay? Okay, CF. So you ordered a Moto G Stylus 2023. Yeah, I had the older Moto G Stylus from 2020, the 4G, and it was okay. Yeah, Motorola phones are probably the best value to quality ratio for phones, for Android phones. But just keep in mind that they don't do timely updates. That's the downfall. But they work, so yeah. Yeah, Steve, physically, I would say Apple makes a solid machine. Oh, yeah, that's right. The RAM and SSD are soldered to the main board. You would think for $1,000 or $2,000 up and up, it would be upgradable RAM or an SSD. But that's why I'll never buy a new MacBook, because you can't make adjustments to it, as it were. Yeah, Steve, Hackintosh. I figured you meant Hackintosh. Yeah. Hello, KO 2610. Good morning. All right, so Tim, you have that phone for a couple of years. Yeah, it's this Moto Edge is pretty fast, and it's just when it comes to updates, it's OS updates. It's just Motorola's not the best. I don't know why, but considering this phone was originally $500, you would think I would get faster updates, but that's why I don't spend $500. The last OS test I did was MX Linux on two 32-bit ThinkPads. One had Windows XP, yeah, XP. The other one had Windows 7. They still work. One has an SSD, still a little slow. I mean, it's an outdated processor, but it's usable. I don't do much on it, stream music or whatever, Bluetooth adapter. But MX Linux is pretty good for if you're still looking to salvage a 32-bit machine. There's Antix Linux. MX Linux has a better GUI, I think. You can try Debian Net Installer with 32-bit. I tried the Mate version. That has more of an outdated GUI, but it seems to work. ThinkPads are like are like Toyotas, man. They just go and go and go and go and go and go. You paid $63 for that phone? Really? Okay. That seems kind of low. KDE is kind of nice, even if Plasma isn't your first choice. Yeah, Raze, I'm not a big fan of Plasma. It's just too, what's the word? It's too much going on. It's too busy. So, not into it. All right, Steve, you have a blessed day too, sir. Be safe out there if you're in the snow belt. CF says you have MX since 2014. Very good. I know, Tim. I know it's MX Linux is for you. Yeah, it works. Yeah, I did actually try install Antix. It ran faster. The graphical interface just wasn't for me. So I went back to MX Linux, a little bit slower, but it's just two machines I just kind of play with. They still run. So if they had 64-bit, I would have installed something else. But they work. So yeah, here at the we have a university here and a community college. I do see a lot of MacBooks, so I guess that means that they work, right? Yeah. Is Solidix still around? So yeah, the big disappointment this year in Linux has to be the delay of Ubuntu's immutable OS indefinitely. That's what I was looking forward to. So I guess I think the other big news this year will be when Pop! OS releases their new Rust desktop environment or whatever it's called. There should be a alpha or a beta System 76 coming out soon of that. I guess they got fed up with the GNOME desktop also. So that should be interesting. Let's see. It is, what time is it? 9:45. All right, I'll stick around. Let's do this. I'll stick around for another 15 minutes and we'll wrap this up around 10. That'll give us an hour live, which I think should be good enough. It's great to have all of you here, of course. So whatever else is on your mind, post it now. You know, last night as I was leaving the jazz concert downtown, one bad thing about driving an extra big SUV, like 7-8 passenger, is the extra time it takes to brush off the snow. And I was thinking, how can I speed this up? And I was thinking, oh yeah, I should have brought my portable leaf blower to blow away all the snow. Last night would have been perfect for it, Tim. And anyway, I had to use a brush. That was a pain in the Linux kernels. But I made it home safe, so I'm okay. Yeah, Tim, I think Pop! OS appears to be a good distro. Yeah, so So Razor mentioned snaps. As a general rule, I try to avoid snaps, flats, flat packs, app images. They tend to be somewhat unpredictable whether they will work or not. Speed is a factor. As a general rule, I try to avoid all of them. I'm not saying that they're all bad or all good. Generally speaking, that's what I will do, but sometimes I have to install a version of that for something to work properly, such as VLC. In theory, snaps and flatpaks app images sound great, but they are unpredictable. Carson says you want to use RetroArch or game-oriented on your Atari. Okay. Oh, good old Atari with the stand-up joystick controllers. So I with those game cartridges, I remember those. Playing Pong and Space Invaders, right? Oh, the simple days. Yeah, CF, that's a good deal on that phone. Excellent deal. Yeah. I don't know if that phone has dual speakers. I think that's why I one of those models, maybe it's that one, did not have dual speakers, which is why I avoided it. Maybe it's a different one. This Moto Edge has dual speakers, so I got this one. This one, I think this one was originally 500. I got for about 200, a little bit less than 200. This is, I don't think this has a micro SD slot on mine. No, it doesn't. Anyway, still a good deal. I was doing some just quick Linux news or tech news searching this morning as I was waking up. I guess a lot more Chromebooks Plus are being released. I'm seeing quite a few on sale even. These are the upper end of the Chromebooks cycle. Minimum higher standards, hardware standards. And I guess they're working. And to get minimum 10 years of updates on a Chromebook, I think that's good. I'm debating, should I shovel my driveway or not? My big ass Saturn does not have a problem getting in and out, but maybe I should for the mailman. Okay, maybe so. Just realized after it warms up, I got to spray the underside, get all that salt out. Okay, let's see. So Tim, you use Bose Bluetooth. You have a Bose at home. Cool, Bluetooth speaker on your Motorola 5G. I have a Bose clock radio, wave radio. From 2005-ish, it still rocks. Still rocks. Sounds just as good today, which is, what, 20 years later, as it did back then. Amazing technology in the Bose. I think they shut down all of their stores strictly online, Tim. But yeah, Bose is good stuff. Absolutely. I mean, to have something that lasts 20 years and no static and still runs, Bose seems to be the Lexus of sound. You put Atari on a VCS computer in 2021. Oh, okay. With a classic controller. Classic, yes. Yes, Tim, the Bose do have awesome sound. You know, when I first got it, I thought, man, this is kind of pricey, but last 20 years, maybe it wasn't pricey at all. I think my car may have Bose in it. I have to look it up. It has one of those, like, amps, like in the middle of the dash on top. So it does have two speakers on yours? Okay. Hang on one second, guys. My phone is ringing. I have such a thoughtful son. He says, Dad, does your driveway need shoveled? And I'm thinking, yeah, I may need surgery for a hernia, inguinal hernia, I think they call it, sometime in the future, and I can't lift anymore. So anyway, he's going to come here in about an hour and shovel my driveway. That's my boy. All right. Hello, Shadow 7. You got Bose $99 PC speakers in 2005-ish. They were garbage. Oh. Refurbished. I got the previously open box. I'll never buy a Bose again. I don't know too much about PC speakers, Shadow. Yeah. For Bose, I got the Wave Radio. I think at the time... I forget what that cost, like $300? That seemed a lot for a Clark radio at the time. But as far as the Bose Wave radios, trust me, they are superb. Carson, you like Klipsch speaker? I've heard of Klipsch. Yeah. Tim says, that's right, gotta help Daddy. Yeah, really. Yep. I was telling one of my friends at work, Tim, that uh, my reward, my reward for buying a car that gets 12 miles to a gallon in the city, my reward is I ain't shoveling the freaking driveway because I don't have to. Seriously, I mean, last night it came up that hill like a rocket. I'm like, dang, Saturn, good job. Anyway, um, yes, cars. I have heard of Sennheiser. I think it's the cousin of Budweiser. No, I'm just kidding. It's really good too. Yeah. Podcast called Cheap Audio Man. It's a great show. Lots of speaker reviews. Cheap Audio Man. I think that's the sequel to Superman. It's Cheap Audio Man. Da da da. Anyway. We got, I think it was 7 inches of snow last night. The prediction was 1 to 3 inches. I think they meant 1 to 3 meters. Because I'm thinking, hey, what's 1 to 3 inches? I'm downtown last night at the jazz concert. And I'm like, that doesn't look like 1 to 3 inches. So anyway, they cut the concert short and we left early. And yeah, it was a total of 7 inches. We were surprised. So anyway, it's yeah, I think when you get snow like this, I do feel safer in a big all-wheel drive. The gas mileage still hurts, I won't lie. But coming home last night, driving up a rather steep hill, I didn't have a problem. I'm grateful. So thank you, Saturn. Even though GM doesn't make it anymore, shame on GM. Tim says, "Hey, I sent my daughter to get my beer." Oh, so you have beer and coffee? That's a hell of a combo, man. But a bump bump. I did have one beer last night, a Bud Light. So I was there with my cousin Lisa and her friend from where she works at a hospital in Pittsburgh. So I'm taking my cousin Lisa's dad, my uncle, to the hospital Thursday because Lisa has to work. She asked for a favor. I said, but of course. It was funny because when the waitress brought the bill, she says, I'm paying for that because you're doing me a favor for my dad and give me that bill. I'm like, I never argue with the lady, Tim. No problem. I would have paid the bill, but she insisted, so I let it go. It wasn't that much. I think it was like $20, so $25. Carson says, espresso car bob. Yeah, that's what they call it, huh? All right. Let's wrap this up in a few minutes. Let's give this 5 more minutes and we'll wrap it up for any final thoughts. It was great having all of you here. Again, if you haven't already subscribed, please do like and share. If you would like to contribute to the channel for maybe doing a live show, whatever, there are some links below in the show notes. If you haven't already, take a listen to my dad's Italian tunes. He was sending me when he was stuck in Italy during the pandemic from his music vault. There's a Bandcamp link below in the show notes. All the money goes back into the channel. So thank you, Dad. Yeah, Razor, I'm not much of a drinker either. I usually always drive, so 1 beer, maybe 2, or 1 mixed drink, and that's pretty much it. I gotta watch those tall white Russians. Not the girls, but the drink. Man, they taste great. Phew, that vodka, woo, knock you out, man. Carson says, is there a better distro than RetroArch for a game-based system? Carson, I don't know. Maybe someone can answer that, but I do not know. Tim, it was great chatting with you as always. Tim says, great chatting with you, Toss, and everyone. Don't forget, still have the Carlo Rossi Fund available for you. Thank you, sir. Yes. My gallon is empty, as it were. So thank you, as always, my dear friend. You know, doing these shows in the morning, I'm actually doing this as I'm doing my morning stretches here on the carpet, talking to you guys. So it's, what's that saying, 2 birds in one? Get to chat with you, share some information, and do my morning exercises. I guess that's kind of cheating, right? But hey, I think we all get lazy after a while, right? Yeah, I'll do my stretches tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. So that's what I do. Tim, do you have a big driveway to shovel also? Or do you let your daughter do it? Shame on you. Razor says, can't wait to get today over with. Have 4 days off of work after midnight. 10 nights in a row. Oh no. Yeah, I was off yesterday. Thankfully, with that snowstorm. You know, we were talking Apple before we leave here. I still have a in the back of the garage, Tim. Okay. I have, I think it's a first or second generation iPad Mini. Now doesn't have any value. I think last time I checked, trade-in value was like $5, which is probably zero now, but it still works. Mint condition iPad Mini. I don't know if I can install Linux on it, to be honest, but mint condition still works. Can't do much on the web, but it plays music fine. And I'll have to try FaceTime one of these nights with some friends. But yeah, somebody mentioned solid machines. They appear to be solid machines. I'll give them that. Yeah. CF says, you ran this morning early. We are made to move. Yes. Yes. When you can, you got to move. So, anyway. All right. Morning stretches are the best. I'm not going to run with all the snow out there. I want to fall on my butt slipping on ice. So, anyway. Okay, let me close out this. We're going to wrap it up here in a minute. Let me go to the other screen. All right, looks like it's all good. So, yeah, I finished my coffee, so I'm going to finish up my stretches here, get showered to start my day. My son should be coming here in less than an hour now, shovel the driveway. We might watch the new... By the way, has anybody seen the Halo Season 2 TV series on Paramount Plus? Looks good. Love the show. Better season, better stories, I believe, since Season 1. And I love in that show that 4-wheel drive and 4-wheel steering Jeep. You have that here with the potholes. What potholes? You can actually buy them for like $100,000. But the problem is, even if you could afford to buy it if it breaks, where are you going to get the parts and who's going to fix it? But a 4-wheel steering Jeep, oh yeah, that's what I want. All right, my friends, I think we're done. It was great chatting with you. As always, if you missed any of this, of course, you can replay it. So, yeah, able to save a MacBook Pro from Extinction. And yeah, Carson, Tim says maybe a dual boot. Real quick from I'm reading. Yeah, I've used Gparted. I'm just looking through the comments here real quick. rsync and yeah, those might be possible options, Carson. Yes. So, all right, I'm going to end this here. As always, be safe out there. If you live in the snow belt and all that stuff, enjoy and have fun with whatever technology you use. And as my singer friend Slim Man would say, it's all about the love. Love all you guys. Take care. And I'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.